Is Microsoft's Xbox Series S worth it in 2024? When Microsoft announced a lower cost, lower spec console alongside of the Series X, I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed. Seeing as Sony's budget option was just a cut down version of the PS5 without a disc drive, I figured that the Series S would be holding back the development of both first-party and AAA games for Xbox, since developers would now have to consider how these games run on the Series S hardware. Interestingly enough though, I've spent a lot of time with every console that's released in the last couple of years, and I have to say, the one that I keep finding myself going back to is the Series S. So if you're thinking about picking up an Xbox in 2024, is the Series S actually worth it? Hey, my name is John and thank you for tuning in. A like and a sub to the channel goes a really long way in helping me out. And if you're new here, welcome. It means a lot that you're watching this video and I can't wait to see what you think about it. The Xbox Series S and X consoles released almost 4 years ago back in November of 2020. And since then, we've seen 2 iterations of the Series S console. The launch version, which is still sold, and it's the white Series S with 512 gigs of storage, and the one that I have here is a little newer with a 1TB SSD. Aside from the color differences and storage size, the console's performance and hardware remains unchanged. And I think that it's important to get pricing out of the way, because if I say anything negative about the Series S consoles, it's really important to have a frame of reference. Because even this guy, the new all-black Series S, is still a hell of a lot cheaper than what is available on the market. The Series S starts at $299 for the 512 gig model, and the 1TB version is $350 US. Side note though, these consoles can almost always be found either on sale or as part of a bundle which includes things like in-game currency and skins for popular titles like Fortnite and Rocket League. Or you can also get it bundled with 3 to 12 months of Game Pass depending on the retailer. The Series S console that I had previously purchased was around $200 USD, and it was the Glided Hunter bundle which came with a lot of those in-game benefits, but it also came with an extra controller. When looking at the Series X console, which can be found for $500 US and is rarely ever on sale, it's no surprise that a lot of people either spring toward the Series S or may be interested in it as an alternative. But what is the difference? Truthfully, not much, and if you're someone who plans to play your games on a monitor or TV, unless you have a 4K 120Hz capable panel, the Series X may only be worth it if you plan to upgrade your display within the next little while. Both consoles support 4K up to 120 frames per second, but the Series S gets by with lower graphical fidelity in some games, and is for the most part relying on upscaling. So while it is outputting 4K resolution, you're not really achieving a native 4K output. However, not every game is the same, and even with the Xbox Series X, the more expensive, bigger brother to the Series S, a lot of those titles are still relying on upscaling like FSR to achieve that frame rate and resolution. Personally, I use the Series S in the bedroom. The display it's hooked up to is a budget Hisense TV, which doesn't even support HDMI 2.1 or 120Hz. It is, however, a 4K display, and from the many games that I've tested owning both the 512 gig console through the years and the new 1TB Series S, I haven't ran into a single issue or have been disappointed at all with the capabilities of the console. I did sell my original Series S after moving from our condo to this basement apartment because I felt like I didn't really need it, but after having parted ways with it, I've missed it a lot, especially after the itch that I got after watching the Fallout series on Amazon Prime. That show really brought me into a spiral of just wanting to play the ever-living hell out of Fallout. And what better way to play a narrative-driven game than in bed with your wife when it's very late at night? But before we talk about the gaming experience with the Xbox Series S, let's quickly talk about what's actually included with the console. Thankfully, even at a lower cost, Microsoft is giving you everything you need to get up and running. A controller, which works for both the Series S and X consoles, as well as PC via Bluetooth. They also give you an HDMI 2.1 cable with a generous enough length that's allowed me to do some cable management in the bedroom, and a power cable. It even comes with batteries for the Series S controller. And one thing that is impressive about this console though, is despite its insanely small chassis, it still has an internal power supply. This makes packing up the console and traveling with it very easy, especially considering its weight, or should I say lack thereof. I mean, look at this thing, it's so damn small. It makes the Xbox Series X and PS5 consoles look prehistoric. After turning it on and setting up the console, you're greeted with the new Xbox dashboard update that came out very recently. And I have to say, if this is your first time jumping into Xbox, be thankful. The old dashboard that was carried over from the old Xbox One consoles made navigating the Series X and S systems very clunky. And while I don't think that it's perfect or as beautiful as something like the PS5's home launcher, I think that it gets the job done and it's better than what we had. Thankfully though, you're going to be picking up this console to play games and not look at the home screen, but man, it is a blast. So like I said, I've had my fair share of games played on the Series S from the original to updated console I have here, and not once have I ever felt like I needed more performance. In fact, it actually made me look at my much more expensive Series X at the time with some confusion, as I didn't really feel as though it was worth the price jump, which is why I inevitably did end up selling it. Even with games like Fallout, which are notorious for being somewhat unoptimized, if I dare say so myself, the Series S is hitching through no problem at all, maintaining a smooth 60 frames per second. And believe it or not, I had to look this up if it was true, but apparently it's only running at 1080p on the Series S and only 1440p on the Series X console. Of course, this is before the next gen update that's coming out on April 25th, but I would be lying if I said that I actually noticed. The game looks super sharp, and aside from the very Bethesda-esque textures and art direction, I totally thought this game was running at a higher resolution. I've even installed a mod which allows for some quality of life improvements, including a higher field of view, and the frame rate is locked. I cannot wait to see what's coming with the next gen update though, and I'm really excited to dive into more Fallout 4. Let's talk about some of the games that take better advantage of the console though, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Modern Warfare 3 has a performance target of 1440p at 120Hz. Granted, like I mentioned earlier, you will need an HDMI 2.1 compatible display to take advantage of this, but even when playing the game on a 4K display, you'd really have to cherry pick to see any differences between the Series S and X consoles. I've played this game on my PC with a 4080, my PS5, the Series X, and now the Series S, and I really don't think the difference is worth the added cost unless all you care about is detail. Games like Fortnite, even with all of the major quality of life improvements, graphic changes, and new engine, are able to achieve 120 frames per second and give you a solid experience. If you're someone who's worried about resolution and performance of your games, while it may be peace of mind to go with the more expensive bigger brother, I would highly recommend that you at least try out the Series S if you are here and considering it. Just make sure to pick it up from a store that has a decent return policy if you do want to upgrade to the bigger brother. Alright, the console is small, it's easy to travel with, it's dead silent under operation, and it performs solidly. But I can't tell you about the Series S without mentioning Xbox as a whole. And lately, Xbox has been taking a blow. Blow after blow after blow, with declining sales, terribly undelivered first-party titles that were supposed to be the bread and butter of the Xbox brand. Halo Infinite launched a year too late, absolutely killing the initial hype around the Series X and S consoles with no real console mover game. It was also missing a ton of popular playlists and game modes, added a battle pass for the first time ever in a Halo game, which was controversial, had some networking issues right out of the gate, and the list just goes on and on. Halo Infinite is currently a game that exists, and while it can be fun to pick up and play here and there, Xbox and 343 really bit the bullet on what could have been the best new release in recent years. Which leads me to Starfield. Let me just put it this way. If this can't run Starfield without any problems, what made Bethesda think that the Xbox could get a good experience out of this game? I was so hyped for Starfield at launch, but I do feel like this game was Xbox's last hope for this generation, and the pressure most likely made Bethesda buckle and release the game much earlier than anticipated. It's in a rough spot, and it will take some work, but I don't believe that Bethesda has given up on Starfield, and I am excited for what's to come. That being said, it doesn't matter how much money Microsoft is throwing into purchasing studios. It seems like all of their efforts are dwindling, and I'm really curious about the Xbox brand as a whole. However, despite some leaks saying that Microsoft is giving up with Xbox, it seems that they're doing the exact opposite, trying to get the brand back to its glory days. All of this, while it may sound like fluff in what is a Series S review, is still important to mention. Even $300 is a lot for people to shell out on a console, and first-party titles are what make up half of the console experience in my opinion. That being said, games like Sea of Thieves, Forza Horizon, and Grounded are all games that I would highly recommend checking out, and they're also included in the Game Pass membership. In fact, every game that I've mentioned except for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 right now are all bundled in as part of the Game Pass Ultimate subscription. And Game Pass Ultimate, while it could be expensive for a lot of people, is genuinely a really good subscription service, allowing you to have cloud games, allowing you to play your games between PC and Xbox all under one umbrella, give you online play, and a bunch of other features like discounts, blah blah blah. I would say that Game Pass is worth it. Game Pass Ultimate also does include EA Play, which is a really nice bonus if you want to play games like Battlefield or F1 23, and I think that it's a no-brainer for quite a lot of people. If you are curious though, Microsoft does still sometimes do those things where you can get Game Pass Ultimate for 1 month for only $1, and I think if you haven't used Game Pass before, it's probably worth checking out. Back to the console though. Is it really worth it? I mean, we are, as crazy as it is, 4 years into the life cycle of the Series S. However, there haven't been any leaks or rumors suggesting an updated lower cost entry into the Xbox lineup, and what this tells me is that the Series S is here to stay. For the price, I really don't believe you can go wrong. If you're someone who's playing on a 60Hz 4K TV or a 1440p monitor with HDMI 2.1, you're gonna get the absolute best this console can offer. And if you simply cannot take advantage of the Xbox Series X's potential because you don't want to spend $800 on a new TV, I think you'd be more than happy with the Series S. I love this console and I've been vouching for it since I had the original in my hands, and I really do choose to play this Xbox more than any other consoles or handhelds I have on hand. If you enjoyed this video, a like and a sub to the channel is always appreciated. I really appreciate your support, and if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. As for what's coming next, this is a little sneak peek, the Neo Flip KB. Thank you for watching, I'll see you all in the next one, and peace out.